green version. What was the green version? Looks like this? Or did we can that version? No, here's the Bring to Light Violent Outburst version. This one actually just combos more consistently. If you're going to play a version of the deck, I recommend this one. So these are all 1 mana, essentially. So the deck kind of curves like this. This is a really cool deck. This is also budget. You can build this on a budget easily. You don't need the fetch lands. You can just run a bunch of basics. Rift Bolts for interaction. Simian Spirit Guides to speed up the deck. That's part of your mana base. The Border Posts are part of your mana base. This looks kind of like this. A lot of this deck is just mana. And then the rest of it's a little bit of interaction that you can run with the deck without hurting the... I'd run more Dismembers. That's all I have is just one. But you can run things like Pitfall. You can run things like Bolt. Just let you interact. The deck, if you run anything that's smaller than 3, it ruins the combo. You have a chance to hit those spells instead. So that's why you see a lot of 3s and higher, and 4s and 5s, like Chronos, Supreme Verdict, Ingot Chewers for Affinity, Ricochet Trap for Permission, Timely Reinforcements for Burn, Leyline for Burn, and Hand Hate. This deck's really fun to play. I can screenshot this for you guys if you want. 32 mana sources if you include the Simian. It runs a lot of mana. 32 mana sources. I think that Live Again's the better Cascade deck, though. Anyway, let's go back to Nightfall. This is another deck I suggest you consider trying. It's got the advantage that this deck has over, for example, if we compare it to my Ascendancy deck, is this deck does a really good job at the fair game. It also can win through degenerate lines involving Knight and also Retreat to Coralhelm. We've killed people from 20. You need some amount of life points, so that's why we're running heavy on Forest and Plains. You do need basics to do that. It also makes us less susceptible to Blood Moon. So this is what it looks like. Snapcasters, Retreats, Knights, Kessig, a Ghost Quarter, a Sajiri Step can also break you through. Bajuka Bog, it's a tutor target. This could be in the sideboard. It was for a while. We were main decking the Arbor. I'm not sure which I prefer. Arbor is a way to beat Liliana if they're trying to Edict your Knight. In response, you can tap Knight, search up the Arbor, and Arbor takes a hit for the team. Shouldn't be running Fairy Macabre Fulminator, or is that only Living End? Says, those are better in Living End, Emperor. Can you compare Ascendancy to Ad Nauseam? Ad Nauseam seems similar, but stronger versus the Abrupt Decay decks as Pedo. Well, the problem is Abrupt Decay isn't strong right now, because the decks that Abrupt Decay goes in, just in my opinion, aren't strong. So Pijo, you can play a more fun deck. No offense, Ad Nauseam actually isn't that much fun. I've messed around with it in paper. Somebody suggested I play it on Moto, and I said, you know what, it's not that much fun. You just click, it's not a very fun combo to play on Moto. You literally just click through, you just spam your mouse until you draw the whole deck, and then you put a Lightning Storm on the stack after you exile the Simians, and then you just dump your lands. That kind of deck is only fun once. No offense, Pedo, and that's just a preference. This deck's very fun because it has a lot of complex lines to the combo. You have to get the right lands when you're retreating, or you mess up. There's a lot of choices involved with retreat. It's not a straightforward combo. That makes it interesting. I can say the same for Lumbering Ascendancy. It's not a straightforward combo. As you saw last match, when I was explaining what spell is next, I had to think about it. It wasn't straightforward. Every turn was like, do I cast the Wish now? Do I cast a cantrip? Oh, there's a Fate Stitcher. I need to bring back the Fate Stitcher first before I cast my spell. There's a lot of sequencing involved in this combo. It's very interesting to play. It's got a lot of depth to it. No offense to Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam, it just doesn't strike me as a fun deck because it's probably fun the first time you play it, but after that it's kind of like, oh, well, okay. That was neat. Alright, I drew on my deck and you're dead. Like Tin Fins at least has some interesting lines. You guys know I played Tin Fins in Legacy. That has some interesting lines. No two games are really the same because you do have to think about some of these lines that you have to take. There's something to think about. Does that make sense, guys? I like combos that aren't just A plus B. There's a reason that I don't play, for example, one of the first decks I built in Legacy was Reanimator. I was borrowing it from a friend, and I tried to build it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just not having that much fun. He's like, well, why? And I was like, well, every game is I search up Grizzlebrand, and I try to reanimate it, and then my opponent scoops. I'm not having fun with my deck. My deck isn't fun. And so I moved on to Tin Fins for that very reason. I love playing Ascendancy because, again, it's got a lot of different lines. No two games are going to be the same. They're just not. Your deck's going to shuffle different. You're going to have different tutors. You're going to have different choices for your Wish. You're going to have different creatures to go off with. And, this is all in the deck. Of course, the games are different from what your opponent's playing. I guess that's the only interesting factor about something like Ad Nauseam is you have to go off against different types of permission, what have you, opponents. That's great. This deck's just more fun. And not many people can play it. This is not that I love playing something that's exclusive, but it's like not many people can jam this deck because they'll just time out. They just don't know how to do it in time. Summon! Welcome to the Abrams Special. Thanks for the follow. But that's my little rant. Play something fun that's also good. That's my recommendation for you guys. Play something that's fun but also good, if you can. You know, and your definition of fun is going to be different than mine. That's my definition of fun. I like, if I'm going to play combo, it needs to be an interesting combo. It can't be A plus B. It can't be show and tell Emrakul. That's too boring. That's too binary, you know? Where's the fun in that? It needs to be something interesting. Maybe even a little crazy, maybe a little zany, but just something that just, each game it's like a puzzle. I love Rubik's Cubes. This deck is a Rubik's Cube, man. Jeskai Ascendancy is a Rubik's Cube, and you're just like, you know, am I supposed to take a left here or right here? Sonsi, thanks for the follow. Like, there's like an algorithm, yes? There's like a method, but like, you know, is it really like as simple as a Rubik's Cube? Maybe. Reaper, thanks for the follow. Sorry about asking, but what's my opinion on Pure Steel deck? Reaper, the Pure Steel Cheerios deck is neat. The problem is it dies to Bolt. Advantages to this deck and advantages to Knight is there are a lot of people still trying to jam the Grixis deck that runs a lot of, you know, plays at a Bolt. They're going to run Kolaghan's Command. They're going to run... I would stay away from artifacts right now. Unless you're Affinity, your whole deck's artifacts. I would also stay away from creatures that are boltable and terminatable. You know, Caryatid, you can't really... Outside of Spell Snare, and Spell Snare's gotten a lot worse. One of the best Spell Snare decks in the format just got killed. It's gone. And one of the reasons to be playing Spell Snare is gone too. Bloom Titan. You know? So like as there's a reason I'm playing this deck. It's not just because I love it and it's like a puzzle. You know, like a Rubik's Cube almost. But yeah, Esper Gifts is cool. That's why I like Elves. It's a toolbox deck. There you go. Have I tried Jeff Hoogland's Kiki Core? No, I haven't, Rapid Genie. I have not. I don't really like green decks that much. I know this deck's green. It doesn't really play like a green deck. It plays more like a blue combo deck, to be honest with you. I'm not really a green mage. Although here I am trying to jam, you know, I guess Knight is technically a green card. I don't know. I'm giving green a chance, I guess, but I'm not really into the Kiki decks. If I was going to play a Kiki deck, Rapid Genie, it would be Blue, White, Red Kiki. It would be Angel Kiki. It would be streamlined. It would have maybe, oh, I don't know, 3 to 4 Snapcasters, 1 Helix, maybe 1 Shadow, place at a Path, place at a Bolt, maybe Electrolyzer 2, some Cryptics. It would be very streamlined, maybe 1 Logic Knot for the spice. And Angels and 2 Kiki Chiki. That's the type I would play. I do love toolbox decks, I do. Even though it's super linear, I just don't want linear, man. I'm just really interested in this deck, and I love the fact that it's got the potential to just draw the whole deck with the Whispers. Really interesting. Kiki's a complete toolbox, that's why I asked. It also just kind of sits on the table, though. You seen the Amulet Retreat to Coralhelm version now that Bloom is banned, says Jugoob. I haven't. Go ahead and link it, man. I'd love to take a look. I always love to see what you guys are playing around with as far as ideas, you know. And if you guys have suggestions for the decks, don't hesitate. I love brewing with you guys. That's definitely, hopefully, why you guys come to my channel. We brew together. This deck, this isn't a solo effort. You know, I maybe picked the deck and said, guys, this is what I want to play months and months ago. But we've been working on this. We've been hand tooling this, nitpicking every card. Like, this is probably version 2.8 of Ascendancy, I think, is the most streamlined we've ever had this deck. I feel like it's on fire. It's just firing on all cylinders. Turn 3, turn 4 kills, pretty consistent. What about the Goryo's Obsidat? That's a cool deck. Just want to beat Tron with Esper Gifts. It's a hard match for Gifts, man. There's a reason I stopped playing Gifts. Lab Man? Yeah. Because Iona isn't a good reanimate target right now? Yeah. People are going to start realizing, they're going to start to smell the roses. Don't you worry, guys. This deck's going to get stronger as soon as people smell the roses and realize that Modern isn't as abrupt decay friendly as it once was. It's gonna turn into a Path to Exile format or die, because there's Worm Coils being thrown around, there's Big Eldrazi being thrown around. You know, Terminate might still be okay, but it's gonna shift from a Bolt format and maybe even a not necessarily Kolaghan's. Kolaghan's is still value even if it's not using the burn mode. But it's hopefully people are going to smell the roses and realize it's no longer really a Terminate Abrupt Decay Bolt format. It's very much changing. It's becoming a Path to Exile format. It's becoming a play combo format. It's becoming a play Eldrazi format. After seeing what Jeff did with Kiki Core, I feel like there's untapped potential for Leyline of Anticipation. What? Here's my Zur Prison. Oh man, I love Zur. I would play it except for the fact that Zur is horribly expensive on Magic Online. Yeah, I mean, this deck's really neat. It's got a lot of toolbox potential. If I was you, I would even run something like, ooh, well, you know what you need in this thing, man? This deck looks really awesome. I would recommend a one of this. Run this card, man, because you can tutor it. You can put it on Zur. You can put it on Geist, the Saint Trap. Check out this card. Run this. Run one of this. Steel of the Godhead. Run one Steel of the Godhead. This is really, really tech. Check this out. Well, I appreciate you fusing how you can say in the top 16 with 15 aggro decks. Apocalypse Guide, that is because people don't know what to play right now, Apocalypse Guide. Yeah, Steel the Guide. Apocalypse Guide, the meta's going to settle down. Everybody's scared right now, Apocalypse Guide. They're like, oh god, there goes my Bloom deck, there goes my Twin deck. What should I jam? I have no idea. I have no idea what to play. You want to know what they go to? When everybody's unsure, especially the pros, they're going to go to something aggressive. They're going to play aggro. They're going to play Infect. They're going to play something aggressive because they're scared. Because they don't want to lose the Eldrazi deck, but they didn't necessarily want to play combo. And yeah, you can do that. If you have a burn deck, yes, play your burn. Burn is, in a sense, kind of a combo deck. You're trying to count to 7. You know, for my friends and I, for the longest time, we were playing Legacy together, we'd always joke around that Burn's a combo deck, but it is. It's a 7-spell combo. In Legacy, anyway. In Modern, it might be more. I guess in Modern, it's more creature-built, relying on the creatures than the Legacy Burn is. So maybe it's like an 8-spell combo. But Burn, in a way, the way we always talked about it, is a combo. Pros are scared, we're not scared, says Rosen. I'm not scared. But yeah, try this card out in your Niku. Give this a try. Slap this on a Geist, like make your own Batter Skull, basically. If you put that on Geist, you got a 4/4 unblockable lifelinker that just ends the game. You put it on a Zur the Enchanter, you've got a 3/5 lifelinker in the air, also unblockable. Both of which are fantastic targets for one of Steel the Godhead. I think this would be great for your deck. Alright, let's do it. Apocalypse, I'm glad you appreciate my enthusiasm. I also appreciate that you disagree. That's fine. You don't have to agree with me, man. I'm just telling you what I've seen on Magic Online, not necessarily in paper. Magic Online, of course, is different than paper. Alright, this hand's not so great. It's okay. We're also on the draw. It doesn't have a way to Glitter Wish, though, and that concerns me. Like, we have the basic island. We have some cantrips I can't cast unless he gives me a creature. I think our 6 could be better. This 6 is probably a lot better. Alright, bottom. So we have creatures, we have a cantrip, we're just looking for... Alright, so it could be Infect, looks like Affinity. Definitely Affinity. Okay. This is just a race, then. That's all this matchup is, game 1, it's just a race. Oh, nice. We drew Glittering Wish. That's fantastical. We also got to conserve life points. I'm just going to pass it back. Flooded Strand, go. Definitely interested in Amulet Retreat. But this deck really is like a Rubik's Cube, guys. I'm going to hang on to this Rubik's Cube and just kind of, you know, when we're playing this deck, be like, think about it. It's a Rubik's Cube. Deck is actually really interesting. I'm going to hold here for a second. I wanted to maybe think about Spell Snare. Because if he has a plating, maybe he sequences his spells differently next turn. Because if he just slams plating, we're in trouble. And that's fine. That would be an issue. Apocalypse says solve the Rubik's Cube right now in front of you. Not while I'm streaming, but sure, sometime. Are you actually able to stream just plain Rubik's Cube on Twitch? I don't know, Apocalypse. Are you allowed to? Yeah, Rubik's Cubes are really fun. I used to solve these with a friend of mine. Actually, a girlfriend of mine, I bought her a speed Rubik's Cube for Christmas one year, and we just kind of solved Rubik's Cubes together. The trick is to match one side first. Like, you start with... Oh, hang on. You start with one side. Usually start with white. So you got to find the side that has white in the middle, so it'd be this side, and then you just start getting all the white around it. And, okay, hang on. Rubik's Cubes are really fun. Rosen says, I can speed cube. Nice. Summon Aether says, I mean, it's considered a game. People can yo-yo, why not? People have yo-yoed on Twitch? Really? You guys would want to watch me Rubik's Cube on Twitch. Okay. Well, let's focus on what everybody's here for first, though, Apocalypse Guide. The 100 some of you guys are hanging out because you want to see Modern, so let's do that. Mills, this is Jeskai Ascendancy, yes. Yeah, Jeskai